think he even be there though. That's the problem about it.
He has 5, and he got maybe 2 or 3 in the same day.
No. Check how many touchdowns he got, because I know he just scored another one.
This is my biggest problem as far as what they did with the Falcons with Julio Jones. The Falcons thought with Matt Ryan they had, because he went to Boston College and he was in Boston, they had the next Tom Brady on their hands.
Or Peyton Manning.
Matt Ryan is a good quarterback, but he is not an every down hurler like the rest of these guys are. I don't think his in-between game is as good as these guys, and I think they should have kept the system they had as far as turning running the ball and throwing it when they need to throw it. And look, you can increase that, but for them to switch their offense to a pass-happy offense and to put all that on Julio, it hasn't worked out
But it's just not Julio. They have 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, and a strong offensive line. This is my thing as Atlanta. Atlanta has gotten better week to week to week. Now, you brought in Julio Jones for one reason only. You think with Julio Jones you could go to the playoffs and become explosive. Who are they going to get that was going to make them that much better defensively, that was really truly going to stop the Packers or the Saints?
I think Farley. Yeah.
And isn't he hurt too?
No, he's playing right now.
No, Nick Fairley just missed Sunday's game, and he missed 2 games before that. Nick Fairley's been hurt all year.
And it's the same thing with Julio Jones, though.
Yep. Julio Jones has been more productive than Nick Fairley by far.
Okay, but it's offense. When you're comparing offense and defense,
No, because I look at it like this. In the trenches.
In the trenches,
In
it's
the
different.
trenches.
In the it's different. Because in the trenches, you're looking at this whole thing now. Okay, what does Nick Farley play? He's a tackle, is he not?
Whoa.
No.
Nick Farley, if I'm talking about becoming an impact player, Albert Hainsworth got $100 million for being an impact defense, but he earned that money. But everybody forgets how good he was in Tennessee. He was the best defensive lineman in football.
You know why? And you're totally right as far as how good he is, but this is one thing with Albert Hainsworth. He has Eddie Curry syndrome. You never play a guy, because you have to remember those years Albert Hainsworth wasn't producing the way Tennessee expected him to do.
But if they offer it to you, are you going to take it?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as far as a guy in his walk year that comes in shape, ready to go, you never pay that guy because that guy doesn't have the dedication that you need.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
I wouldn't have given him that money.
But they gave it to him.
There's no way I would pay him. That's not the question you asked. You said, should they have paid him like that? I wouldn't have paid him like that because that guy's the type of guy that only wants to feast when the money's on the table.
At the end of that
and when
year,
times get lean, doesn't want to do
best defensive lineman considered that year? At the end of that year, he was considered
how many years had he been in the league?
He's been in the league.
When he got that contract, about 6 years, about 6, 7 years. So out of all 7 years, only 1 year he was in the top 3. Listen, I'm not even gonna say the one.
He was in the top 3 a few of those years.
No,
but because
it was actually 2, and actually I'm gonna give you half of it. The year before was the year he finally turned it around.
His sacks and all that, or what are we?
No, I'm talking about his impact on the game.
He was
the cause of double teams.
Player.
No, they were disappointed. Jeff Fisher was disappointed in him a lot.
Jeff
very
Fisher
often. That's still not the
Jeff
point.
Fisher
He was a
sitting
very
down
winning
outside.
coach. Okay, but he was a real winning coach, though, was he not? Jeff Fisher.
He would still be winning
Who
if he would have
on your team right now, Albert Hainsworth or Jeff Fisher?
Albert Hainsworth, because
that's crazy.
Vince Young won him a lot of games. Everybody forgets how good Vince Young was.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying Albert Hainsworth was worth $100 million?
No, I'm just saying I take the money.
You'll take
I'm
the
saying
money.
at that moment, someone was going to give him the $100 million. Are we not right about that?
No, because you're talking.
Who was it? Who?
You're talking about Daniel Snyder here. All right, that's like the Rangers and A-Rod. You can't. Sometimes you outspin yourself with those.
I forgot about that.
No, you can't say it's bona fide that would he have been the highest paid defensive lineman? Probably, but I cannot guarantee that someone would have spent as much as him.
I'll give you that. Maybe he wouldn't have been the highest paid player at the time, but he sure would have had the most money out of any other defensive lineman.
Okay, but here's my thing.
That's my big point. He would have still got paid.
Yes, but here's my thing though. Okay, whatever Albert Hainsworth did to deserve that contract does not compare to when you look at a career of Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan is way better than Albert Hainsworth.
I'm not disputing that. That's a Hall of Famer.
I'm just saying though. But Michael Strahan was never offered $100 million. Players today, defensive linemen, like what Ken just said. Because I have a friend who lives in D.C. My friend Marvin. He actually worked for the Redskins. What is Dan Snyder known for? Outspending for what? For garbage talent.
Yeah,
that's Dan Snyder. No other team in the NFL would have gave Albert Hainsworth $100 million.
Jerry Jones would have gave him $80 million if he had it. Jerry Jones would have gave him that money. If he would have had the money, he would have gave it to him. I guarantee you. I've seen Jerry Jones overspend on some true bums.
Okay, and who did Cowboys have in defense at the time? They still had Greg Ellis. They still have DeMarcus Ware.
No, I'm not talking.
No,
I'm not
no.
making this into an Albert Hainsworth thing. I'm talking about if you have the money.
Jerry
which,
Jones
if
spends
Jerry
his-
Jones
no.
has thrown away money.
On offense, not defense.
That's why his defenses ain't any good.
He would not. But Albert Hainsworth is not worth $100 million.
I'm not saying
on
he's worth
defense.
$100 million, but he was worth being the most expensive player that year.
But you can look at it right now. Where is he right now?
Oh, he's with
Is he in the
Tampa
league?
Bay. Yeah, he's with Tampa.
He's with Tampa. Is he
Yeah.
doing anything?
He had a block. He had a block kick. And
Oh,
he's
man.
been- But you know what?
Yeah.
Hold
Showed up
on.
one
But,
day.
but
Yeah.
Tampa's
That's
a
$100
bad,
million right there, man.
but Tampa's a bad team. I'm not saying he was worth $100 million. What I'm saying was at that moment he was worth being paid the highest as a defensive lineman.
My thing though with
That's-
Dex,
I wouldn't give him that money.
no. My thing with you for Dex, regarding this though, is okay. Yeah, he's worth $100 million or whatever, but the man, did he not play for 3 teams now in a matter of 2.5 years? How do you go from the Tennessee to Washington to the Patriots to the Bucks?
Well, I'll tell you this. Number one, 2 of those teams he played for did not fit his defensive style.
He wasn't running a 4-3, right?
He's not. Yeah, he's a 4-3 player. He's not a 3-4 player. Remember,
That
got
is
stuck-
true.
He got stuck playing.
Shanahan
and
shouldn't
he
have done
told he told Mike Shanahan. Just
No.
put me in the 4-3.
No, the reason why he got signed there because Snyder told me he would run the 4-3.
Yeah, he was gonna run the 4-3.
And then when Shanahan got there, who was there before? Who was coach before Shanahan? It was Joe Gibbs, right?
Joe Gibbs, yeah.
It was Joe Gibbs.
And they thought they were
wasn't
going to
he
keep Joe
Didn't he play
Gibbs.
for
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs?
No, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there for Joe Gibbs?
Shanahan, he was there when he got signed, and then they hired Shanahan.
That's what happened. Okay. All right.
Remember, Shanahan just
Yeah,
got fired
he's-
from Denver.
that's right.
So that was the big problem there. Then he's been a bum. I'm the first one to say it. All I'm saying is this: is as a head coach, aren't you supposed to put your players in the best position to succeed?
Yeah, but that don't mean
Why
you gotta
would
give him $100 million.
take it? No, I'm not. I'm gonna take the $100 million.
Okay.
If Daniel Snyder offers you $100 million right now, you taking it, right?
Oh, yeah, you gonna
Whether
take it.
you worth it or nobody. Maybe nobody.
No,
in
you ain't gonna
life
turn the money down. No.
maybe nobody in life is worth $100 million. Maybe. We really, this is just numbers that they have to give.
Well, yeah. They gotta
All-
spend the money.
But if you look at a lot of these, there's a lot of players that are getting paid that haven't done anything. He was one of those guys that he had actually been to 2-3 Pro Bowls and was considered the best defensive lineman out there. And if you look at Tennessee has not been the same team since he left defensively.
But okay, defensively, yes. But here's my thing though: Tennessee had problems. It's just all together. It's what we said earlier with Jeff Fisher, the whole Vince Young issue. Okay. Other than that, if you're an athlete, you're getting paid $100 million. You do whatever they want you to do. Period. You're getting paid $100 million.
Not if you're told we're going to run a certain system. Not if you're sitting there and you are a star. He was a legitimate star. And they sat there and they bring him. They say, you know what? We're going to build the defense around you. And then you come up and they tell you, well, you know what? We're not going to build the defense around you. We're going to run a 3-4, something you've never played before, something that you're not used to, a position nose tackle that he doesn't play.
Okay, here's my thing. You just said position you don't play. Look at DeMarcus Ware right now. What is his natural
runs
position?
3-4, Wait a minute.
No, but what's his natural
Wait a
position
minute.
though?
He's a pass rusher. You're comparing a
No,
pass rusher.
okay.
All he does is rush the passer. They don't ask him to play coverage. He basically plays defensive end. He should be getting paid like a defensive end. All they tell him
But
is
what position does
go
he
to
really
left-
play though?
Pass rusher. I consider him a pass rusher. I don't consider him a linebacker. When have you seen him out there getting interceptions and breaking up a
But
pass?
do you know, technically though, he is considered a linebacker.
No, you got to
though.
remember this. Remember when Terrell Suggs was fighting for all that money? What did Terrell Suggs was telling everybody? I don't want to get paid as a linebacker. I want to get paid as a what? As a pass rusher. Why?
I understand.
Because
But-
that's what they are.
But
They
what
are
is his?
there
But what
to
is his
get to the
position? What
quarterback.
is his position?
But what do you think he's going to want to be paid as? A linebacker or a defensive
Okay,
end?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying.
So you're comparing, but you're telling me that he's a linebacker when he never really plays linebacker. Very rarely. All he does is rush the passer.
correct because he plays the defensive end.
He answered the question himself.
No, it's not because I did not. Because here's the whole thing: the Cowboys system. The Cowboys changed their defense 2 years ago. Ware switched. They had to have DeMarcus Ware switch from an end to a linebacker. That's the whole thing. Like he's a hybrid linebacker.
Does he ever pop out in zone? Does he ever play man to man?
A little bit, yes, he does.
Okay, and give me a ratio. Is he there 30% of the time? I doubt he's there 30. What do they tell him to do? What's his job?
His job is to get to the quarterback.
Okay, so kind of like every now and then you'll see defensive ends play zone dog, and they'll sit there and they'll pop out. That's basically what he does. He's there for one thing only: get the damn ball from the quarterback. He is They could quote him as a linebacker, but he's a pass rusher. Go tell T Sizzle he's a linebacker. He gonna look at you and tell you, I'm a pass rusher.
Okay, you know, say
So
I
what
want.
are they getting paid as? Because I'm telling you, they're not getting paid
They're not.
as linebackers. What are they getting paid as?
They're getting
Pass
paid as
rushers.
pass rushers, but technically they're linebackers. Like I want to get into another topic real quick with DeMont and Dexter and Ken here. I wanted to actually talk about real quick. Let's go over this Broncos Patriots game yesterday. What were your guys' thoughts? You know, watching the whole game.
I actually on the show I actually picked Tebow. I actually picked him because you know what? Ken has said it 1,000 times. Every week I have been called. I'm saying, man, Tebow's gonna do it. Tebow's gonna do it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was so upset with the Bears and how they lost. Me and the old lady actually went for a walk. So we walked around Hyde Park in Kenwood a little bit. I saw majority of the game though, and I was very impressed. That first quarter, I was like, "Holy, you know what? I think they actually gonna pull this off." But you called it. You said Hernandez is gonna do his thing, Ken, and they couldn't stop him.
Look, as we all know, Gronko, who I have on my fantasy team, has been going wild this season. I won't even say these last few weeks, and Aaron Hernandez has become an afterthought. So it only made sense Hernandez was going to step up. But back to the Tebow thing, which DeMond's been picking Tebow, and I've been going against Tebow. Like him as a person, but don't trust him as a long-term quarterback. I definitely felt that the Patriots' offense was going to make sure they could outscore. But I will say this much. I didn't think it was going to be as close as it was in the first half. I didn't think.
I was shocked. I was shocked.
Also, look, I was quivering in my boots a little bit, thinking like, "Oh my goodness, this fool may pull it off." And it's bad enough right now when I turn on my TV that Tim Tebow has.
What was the stats, Jared?
3 segments in about a half hour every time I turn on the mouse, which it irritates.
What you mean 3 segments?
Listen, they will have a segment on him in high school. They will have
a
segment
on
him in college.
Yeah.
They will have the priest for down the street segment. It's a bit much, and it's choking me at this time.
You know what it is? Tim Tebow had about 96 yards rushing, 200 yards passing. He didn't have a bad game, statistically speaking, but he couldn't make throws.
That's every game.
And but you know what? When it came down to being Tebow time, he could make the throws. It never became Tebow time.
It can't be Tebow time if the game isn't close.
Exactly, and I think that's the big issue.
But this is my theory, and I said this too on the show. What's Tebow time? Tebow time is when a team has played the Denver Broncos close, and they say, you know what, we're going to make Tim Tebow pass against us. We're going to play back and play, if you want to call it preview defense, whatever you want to call it. But he lulls them to sleep in some sense because he does stink. What, 3 for 19 against the Bears? And then what happened? They step back and say, okay, you know what, you're going to have to beat us with your arm. And then it opens up everything, and then they actually able to make plays. And don't forget about it, he could run. Mm-hmm. So if you bagging off, and he see you bagging off, he gonna take off because it was quite a few first downs. He went through Urlacher, he went through Briggs, and Urlacher came out. What did he say? He's a good running back. Yeah. So that's Tebow time. But if you're constantly pressuring this dude, I don't care if I will blitz him like this Madden. I'm sorry. He's not going to beat me with his arm, really, but you know what? I'm going to blitz him. I'm not going to fall back and give all this space to him. Prevent. I'm not going to do that to him. That allows Tebow to Tebow you.
I agree. I would get real exotic on him.
I want to say one thing about that, and I told this to Jarek last week. What Denver does is Tebow's like that boxer who the first 5-6 rounds you could beat the crap out of him. Mm-hmm. Issue is about that 7-8th round, he's still there. Yeah. What happened yesterday was Tom Brady had that ball a lot longer than they expected him to have the ball, and it became a scoring fest. Can you keep up with Brady? So he ended up beating you on points.
But Denver did help him out with all the turnovers.
Exactly.
That was the one thing.
You just said my point right there.
That was the one thing.
Yeah, but I'm not a Tebow guy. I really don't trust him. I don't know how long his body's going to hold up. I think he can win games because right now he's young, he's fresh, and he's just different. The turnover part, that was going to happen eventually. Everybody goes through turnovers.
Yeah, you're never going to have a perfect game.
This is my issue with Tim Tebow. We praise him so much. People praise him so much, and he hasn't even quarterbacked 16 games yet. He hasn't even had a full season. He hasn't even had an off season. We really don't know what we were talking about Cam Newton earlier. We don't know if he's going to develop.